Yes, we can. And
Good.
we are now live.
Alrighty. So, this is it's a little too hot for you guys. Okay. Can you put the screen up so we can see yourselves? All right, let's go ahead and do introductions real quick. I am Naiji Coach.
I'm Jaini.
I am Zai.
Naiji Ben.
Nijai Infiniti.
Naiji Glenn.
Naiji Emil.
Oh, okay. So let's give a quick status report and let Jolene do that. Let me know you're done.
Sure. As far as what we've done this,
Just kind of the general weekend.
Yeah, this weekend. Okay.
I'll log with them all.
Sounds good. So this weekend we went to 2 coffee shops each day. So the 2 coffee shops that we're spending most of our time in, and one of them is the one that we've been grooming or been going to for the longest. And but we started going to the second coffee shop Uno and Dos. Those are our names for it. But we went there earlier to the new coffee shop, and so we were able to basically we approached all the baristas. They're aware of that we're doing a case study, reading all the baristas and the different local coffee shops, and that they're very intrigued and curious about that. And so
They're basically
yeah.
waiting for that Nijai field pitch
Field
for
pitch.
we'll be studying this week.
Yeah.
Good.
So it's feeling more like really comfortable, like being out there. I think we're our messaging. Yeah, we're learning a lot about because it is
What
like
they need to hear, how they need to hear it.
yeah, because in the coffee shops we have seen that there are more like the vast majority of the baristas are Nijai, and so Nijai males and females, and so that's really curious. It's interesting. It makes sense. I guess when you see
And it gives us a very clear focus.
And yeah, it gives us a very clear focus.
And me and Dee was talking about earlier today. Was it sexy true? That's what we're going with here. Sexy true. That seems to be the golden spot we're aiming at. All right.
Yep.
Good stuff. So we'll keep going on that. Stay tuned. Now, before we get into the quiz, I just want to kind of go over some stuff that Demas and I were talking about earlier as far as some mode reading principles. One is that when it comes to doing it, you need to, well, actually all these are kind of like going big that have effects on an individual mode reading session. One is, are you able to do like 20 sculptures a week? And where would you time that in your week? So what would be the kind of headspace and the kind of environment you would need to do, say, 20 sculptures for an art class? And I think if you look at it as far as like performing 20 pieces of art as opposed to, say, target practice, which may seem a bit more technical, and you feel it because it's a quiz, focus on that, and that would be the ideal headspace. For example, myself, some days I just kind of walk up and I kind of, just feel the weather. I'm like, I'm not really in it today. So the better thing to do on a larger scale, particularly if you're doing reads that are for a week, is find the best day, the best time of the day to do it. You may just sort of let it yourself be available to when the mood it comes upon you, and then hit the anvil when it's hot. So that's just something to really consider, is tracking your artistic mood to do the activity, trying to cultivate it, and also trying to note how to time it and what activities and environment make you feel the best state for that. So imagine you had to do some sculptures for a class credit, and how would you sort of organize your week to do that? That will pretty much work for how you would do your mode reading sessions. Another one is that as you develop yourself as a lens, you can think of it like trying to see stars in the sky with a telescope. And once you get to a certain resolution, and you're trying to read this night sky, so the resolution of the current telescope and reading that current night sky, it might get frustrating. You might feel like your accuracy is not improving. And there can be 2 major reasons for this that are larger than that individual reading session. One is you may need a better lens. And say the practitioner program, there's things like voicing and going out in the field and doing media and meeting up with friends that bolster your confidence in the overall power of your apparatus. So sometimes you can look at night sky over and over again, it might stay cloudy, and that's because the telescope needs to be powered off in some different ways. The other one is you may not be in the right environment, which is why telescopes are not just off, but they're located in certain parts of the world. Anyway, they're located in certain parts of the world because that's where it would get the best resolution. With Moja reading, it is a very high light practice. It teaches you about your spiritual pathway, what you're going to do with your life. Because if you're, let's say, a scientist, you're trying to figure out the stars, you build a telescope. One, you're like, I can't see it, so maybe I need to spend more money or do something to beef up my telescope. But then there's the issue of, I think I may need to move my telescope to a more conducive environment, because as long as I'm in this area, my view of the night sky is cloudy. There's a lot of smog in this area. So you need to factor that in. So sometimes the reading you're doing, you're reading yourself and your life. And that's actually the higher reading you're taking away. Like if I'm trying to read someone that should be simple, it's happening all the time, and it's not simple. I can power through it, but a lot of times the more beneficial thing to do is ask, why am I having such a hard time with this? And then I'll start reading myself, I'll start reading my life, and what I'm supposed to do with it. And when I elevate my understanding of my life and my place in it, then I do everything better, including reading. Finally, third one is, anytime you encounter a bubble or a rift that you're not used to, you would expect your percentages to go down. I usually am still able to pull the configuration even when I'm seeing a new riff, but 20 reads that are new, that are riffs or bubbles I'm familiar with, is not very hard for me. 20 riffs or bubbles I'm not familiar with, that can be very, very challenging. It can take me several days and be quite fatiguing. So it's important to note, kind of works of art, the weight of a given read can change dramatically, and you should set your ego accordingly, knowing that situation. So the environment, how familiar you are with the bubbles, and your current level of development in other areas besides just vision. You know, kind of certain like MMORPG games, once you get to a certain level in one track, a lot of times you hit a bit of a ceiling until you open up another track and make at least some kind of progress in that area. Once you're able to do that, then you can open up higher areas in that track that had plateaued. Okay, so those are some high-level concepts. Let's now get into the quiz itself. What's the first one, Jeffrey?
Okay, the first one is Helen Baxdale.
What do you have?
I said Nijai,
Shiny.
and I'll be reading for Mitchell Nizai. I
Okay.
said
Shiny.
Naiji.
Just one sec.
What's that?
just
Nijai.
Nizai.
All right, Mitchell and Eagle Eye got that one. Nizai for Helen Baxendale. Alexandra Beaton.
okay.
How many is that? Two out of how many?
Two out of well, it's everybody. So 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Next, Alexandra Beaton.
I said Nizai.
Nizai.
Jillian, are you going to read for Mitchell, or
He said Nijai.
Nijai?
Nijai.
What?
Oh, sorry, Mitchell.
Naiji.
Nijai.
I said Nijai.
This is another Nizai.
Okay. So who else said? I said Nizai.
Two.
Okay. Demas. Anyone else said Nizai? Okay. So,
Next, Stephanie Beatriz. Beatriz.
Bitch. I have actually Madison Beaton.
Yeah, I see Madison
Yeah.
B.
Me too.
The next one.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
So I said Nizai,
Nijai.
and Mitchell said Nizai.
Nijai.
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 Shiny.
Madison is a Nizai.
Okay. So two. Me and Mitchell. Did anyone else say Nizai?
Next up, Catherine Beaumont.
I said Nizai.
Naiji.
Mitchell said Nijai.
Naiji.
Nijai.
Jaini.
Nizai.
Ben and Demas got that, I think. Naiji.
Sweet.
Next up is Allison Becker.
I said Nizai.
Nizai.
Mitchell said Zaini.
Nizai.
Nijai.
Nizai.
Zaini.
Good, we are close on that. It is Nizai. So it was 4 of you got that. Makes me a good answer also. Ashley Bell.
I said Nizai.
Zaini.
Mitchell said Nizai.
Nijai.
Nijai.
Zaini.
Nizai.
It is Nizai.
So 3 out of 7.
So,
Yeah.
okay. Is it Belladonna next?
Yep. I said Vijay.
Nijai.
Mitchell said Vijay.
Nizai.
Nijai.
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 It is a Vijay.
Did anyone here say Vijay? I did Mitchell, so it's 2 out of 7.
Next is Lexi Bell.
I said Nijai for her.
Zaini.
Mitchell said Zaini.
Vijay.
Nijai.
Nijai.
Vijay.
What was that, Eagle Eye?
Vijay.
Okay, it's a Nijai. So I think 4 people got that. Next we have Laura Benanti.
I said Nizai.
Nizai.
Mitchell said Jaini.
Naiji.
Nijai.
Naisi.
Jaini.
It is a Nizai. So I think 2 got that one. Haley Bennett.
I said Nijai for her.
Nijai.
Mitchell said Nizai.
Nijai.
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 Nice. 6 guy got it. Nijai it is. Eliza Bennett.
I said Nijai.
Nijai.
Mitchell said Nizai.
Nijai.
Nijai.
Nizai.
Nijai.
All right, I think that's Mitchell and Glenn. It's Nizai. Then Melissa Benoist.
I said Nijai for her.
Nijai.
Mitchell said Nizai.
Nijai.
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 Jaini.
I think only Mitchell got that one. Nizai.
Nice.
Next is Nikki Benz.
I said Zaini for her.
Mickey Benz. Why isn't Mickey Benz here? Okay. Vijay.
Mitchell said Vijay.
Vizai.
Vijai.
Vizai.
Zaini.
She is Vijay.
Okay.
That's 3. Next, Ingrid Balso Berdal.
I said Nizai.
Jinai.
Mitchell said Naiji.
Ben.
Oh, Nijai.
Nijai.
Nizai.
Nijai.
I think 2 got that one. It's Nizai. Next up is Marisa Berenson.
I said Zaini.
Zaini.
Mitchell said Zaini.
Jaini.
Naiji.
Jaini.
Zaini.
Infinity got that one. Naiji.
Ah, nice.
Mm.
Thanks for those 2.
Yeah, so Naiji can be tough to see sometimes.
Yeah. More still.
Yeah.
They often hide their yang quite a bit. Julie Marie Berman.
I said Nizai for her.
Vijay.
Mitchell said Nizai.
Johnny.
Nijai.
Nizai.
Nizai.
Nizai it is. Before we got that. Next, Eve Best.
I said Jaini for her.
Shiny.
Mitchell said Nijai.
Johnny.
Naiji.
Shiny.
Shiny.
Nice. Shiny it is. 5 out. 7 out. Good. Alrighty. Viva Bianca.
I said Nijai.
Ziny.
Mitchell said Nizai.
Nizai.
Zaini.
Nizai.
Ziny.
What's that?
Ziny.
Ziny. Nice. You're all close, and 3 of you got it. Ziny it is. Susan Beer.
I said Nijai.
Naiji.
Mitchell said Naiji.
Naiji.
Nizai.
Naiji.
Naiji.
I think is that you, Charlene? Nijai?
Nijai.
Nijai it is.
Remind me of Lady Gaga a little bit.
And last one, correct? Is it Mary Birdsong?
Yep. I said Nizai.
Nizai.
Mitchell?
Mitchell said Nizai.
Nizai.
Naizi.
Naiji.
Nijai.
All right, 4 of you got it. Nizai. Nice. All right. So let's go ahead and look at the ones that were a little trickier and play those a little bit. Take a look at them. Sound good?
You had a lot of choices.
I think in general we got pretty good.
Some of the twos.
So some twos, yeah.
What about Melissa Benoist? What do most people think she was?
I
I
said.
put
Go ahead.
Nijai.
I put Nijai too.
Benoist. Okay, she's Nisa. Okay, let's take a look at that one. Okay, so she's actually a Nizai, but looks like most of you are seeing her as values-based. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How were we doing this before? Was it going, starting with you, going down, or was it working for the newer students working on?
I think it was working on the newer students.
Then you guys add in?
Yeah.
So why don't you call on someone to take lead,
Okay.
and then you guys add in, I come in as well.
Okay, so Ben, do you want to call someone else to take lead? So Ben?
Pick one of them to actually
Yeah.
go first, and then add some more content.
Yeah, so Ben, you want to go first on this one? On this interview?
So, is this like a Q notation or?
You're basically looking for G cues and also for values-based cues.
I see. Okay, cool.
She's right. She's an Nizai, but a lot of you had her as values-based,
That's
and
right.
also a Jai Mojo.
That's
Okay,
right.
so look for those.
And
Wait, did anybody get this one right?
yeah, one person did.
Maybe that person should be going then. Because
Okay.
I got this one wrong. So
Right, something that could be good for you though. Who got it right anyway?
Was it Mitchell?
I think it was.
oh, if
yeah,
it was Mitchell, then yeah, I might as well. But
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So just see what you can
Yeah.
see. It's a good experience.
all right, sounds good.
Like once you realize that what it actually is to go back and watch it with those eyes.
Yep.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, so then, and we're gonna
It's
post
not-
all the video, and we're gonna post all the video links that we have that we're using today for reference underneath the
Description.
videos in the descriptions.
But also that mental chatter we're doing in the group reads. I also think here in the kind of mental chatter you talk to yourself as you realize you had something wrong and kind of like you tell yourself, oh, it was actually this, this, and this. That's very, very important mental chatter to have, and be good for people to hear that.
Right.
Emil, do you have access to YouTube?
Yeah.
Remember?
Yes, yes.
Okay, cool. I think it might have been. What was it? Oh, I just noticed that Glenn dropped off.
Oh yeah.
Let me send them another invite.
I think what we worked before is like someone start late and then everybody just kind of start jumping in after a time.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Okay.
I think also we want to like not pausing too much, but just talking over the video.
Mhm.
That's how you worked best last time.
Okay. Here we go. Okay.
If you guys, as you're doing this today, could occasionally call out the time code that you're at, that would be helpful for people who are watching. You ever get that?
All right, sounds good.
Cool.
Okay. So I'll let you.
You'll. What?
Yeah, I'll let you man it, basically.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
You have a bicycle on your foot?
It is. That's a bicycle.
May I want to ask what the significance of it is?
I mean, I got it. I had this is kind of embarrassing.
Oh, well, then I really have to know.
I had never really learned how to ride a bicycle until I was like 18 years old.
That's not embarrassing.
And
It's all right. You were busy doing other things.
Something noticed for Nizai their moding is punchier than whereas Shy it has a resonation quality to it. So that's something that tends to stand out to me pretty quickly when I focus on the moding for Nizai.
It does, it pops more, although it's logic based.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah, in kind of a punchy way. I mean, of course, Nizai have a moding higher up in their peak pathway, but.
Yeah, I think hindsight is kind of 20/20 because now that I'm looking at her, I can see. I think what caught me at first, like I said, was like the big smile, and how warm her delivery is.
But not as macking as some of these are.
Yeah, not as macking, more like just agreeable, and personable, and flirty, and so that.
Sweet.
And sweet, yeah, yeah. But you can see the Cheshire. You can see the Cheshire cat, like it goes sideways as opposed to upward.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, in retrospect, I'm really noticing the Cheshire cat.
Yeah.
I really see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Let's keep letting it play.
Oh, one thing. Glenn just asked me if you could send him another invite.
Okay.
It's a joke.
I don't really see any emoting going into the cheeks when she's laughing, like right now. The cheeks might like kind of jolt up, but the emoting isn't actually going up. So
the fluctuations aren't really happening. You're right. It kind of rises up like one take.
Yeah, one unit sort of.
1 unit.
Yeah.
Mm.
Right. And then I moved to New York City, and that's where I learned how to ride a bike, and it was like liberating. And
Where did you grow up?
Colorado.
And you didn't have a bike. Well, it's high up. Was the thing? They kind of, I can't ride a bike.
Sort of, yeah, actually.
Are you
It was always
skiing?
just like really embarrassing.
Can you
experience.
ski?
Yes.
Well, there you are. The same thing. Do you have any more tattoos of other
I
things?
do, yeah.
There's no
I'm a wolf.
cheese
Oh,
jutting.
you've written a wolf?
Of course, yeah.
That wrist at 1 minute 33, her wrist is jiggling. You can keep playing it actually. Ben.
I'm just gonna. No, I'm gonna go to where you were. You were trying to describe something. I figure I go to the spot you were on.
I got it. Thanks. Appreciate it. So she was showing the wrist to Craig Ferguson, her tattoo, and it had a loose sort of quality to it as she was, sort of wiggling her wrists.
Oh, cool.
Where were you when you learned to ride a wolf?
At birth.
Yeah, that's really
Lovely.
impressive. Do you have 2 tattoos?
I have 3. I have one more on the back of my neck.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
You have some too, right?
I got 5.
5?
Yeah.
You just got a new.
But I get more body than you to fill up.
The lips are going
vast
outward
expanses
more.
of flesh
Like
that
that
have to be in some way decorated.
When she throws her head back and laughs, it's always so
It hurt really bad.
Yeah.
And the one on the back of my neck hurt even more.
It was just more close to my
Really?
face.
Hurts, I'm gonna get one
Yeah.
there.
So I like to check my work as well.
Yeah.
It's like a really
I had a little
vulnerable
hard time here.
position they put you
There
in.
we
Like
go.
when you're in that much pain, you're like,
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then
Make
it
it
went
really-
sideways.
Yeah, the sidewaysness of it.
Yes.
It seems to just like flash out and occupy this area as opposed to resonating upward.
Yep.
Exactly.
I'm singing G. I just want to make sure that she's not a tricky G or something. Let's watch a little more.
Ooh.
Interesting.
So I think it's alright for you because you're an attractive young woman. So
oh,
well, no, I think that's okay. I think it's
pretty
tattoo
bobbly.
parlors, if you go, oh, that's Thor, and you're an attractive young woman, nobody really cares. If you're me and you go, oh, that's Thor, they're like, ah. So you moved to New York, you learned to ride a bike, and got into show business.
yep.
Wow,
In that order.
and now Glee, that's the. I never missed that show.
Really? I could tell. I mean, you were like,
I'm telling you, see when Corky got sick.
Is there a better interview? Everyone gets closer. I usually don't spend the. They
I
go back and
think-
forth more.
Oh, we could probably let's see a different.
Yeah, I have
one.
one. I have another one. I'll load it up. then.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Sure.
Keep track of these.
This would be so amazing. I mean, a year ago you were right. How did you get the part?
I auditioned for New York here
Right.
a couple of times.
Did you feel good about it when you auditioned?
Oh, no.
She bobbled.
That's
This
bobble.
is around a minute.
This is much helpful. Yeah, it still looks like things needs eye. Alright, let's watch this interview.
And also, there's a whole thing in an audition.
Right. And have you always wanted to be an actress?
Oh,
I heard you had some pretty odd jobs.
I did, yeah. I mean, I got my start in dinner theater in Colorado, which,
That must be challenging. So you're singing while folks are eating dinner.
yeah, it's actually like a buffet situation, the theater that
Are you
I
serious?
at, yeah.
And what were you singing while everyone's at the buffet?
We did like full-on musicals. We did Evita. I did Sound of Music there a couple times, yeah.
So you're singing like.
No, sir, some of the actors like would wait tables like before the show
Wow.
and intermission we dripped into it.
Wow. So like Che Guevara.
Seems like she G's a lot when she comes out. On the
I
Totally.
she seems to do like this kind of thing, like the jutting, and then like
G.
get side G.
Yeah.
Wow. I wanted to get a tattoo for years. I didn't do it. I think I'm now beyond the age where it's acceptable, but I hear you got a tattoo. What's your tattoo?
It's actually a bicycle.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Where is it?
It's on my foot.
Can I see?
Right, yeah. Mhm.
Well, can anyone else? Can look at it?
Can-
Yeah.
stand up.
There, let's stand up. Wow. A bike. So what? Just because you like bicycles? Or
Well, no, I mean, I got it after I learned how to ride here, and it was just because, like, riding, you can attest to this, and it's like the most thrilling, liberating feeling.
Right.
Yeah, she really gets a lot of emoting when she comes out.
Yeah.
She goes face forward. She goes face forward is when she has most emoting.
So that's gotta be extremely cool.
It was.
Have you seen any any Zai yet? I feel like I haven't really seen a lot of Zai, and I kind of want to.
I
I
have.
would love to see. You have.
Yes, what she's doing is she's doing a lot of these quick head tosses, and when she does, she's staying in game mode. She's like in bobble game mode. She's,
Right.
but you're wondering, she's staying very much, I'd say most of the time, in Ni and G. She's staying
Exactly.
most of the time. But I do see her kind of hitting her head to the right, but she never lingers there. She's kind of like in motion, like a bird, a bird in motion.
Got it. That makes sense.
Was there ever a moment where you're going to
G, 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 lots of G there.
Bobble. She and
How long
Bobble.
did it go on for?
I mean, this one is so small.
Yeah, she goes. She did a little bit.
When she did grimace, that grimace was Zai, but that was very brief. She kind of just went there and did a little thing. She's definitely putting a lot of effort into her G. She hasn't dropped her smile hardly at all. It's normal for Ni Alpha to not drop eye contact. They have that power very often. But you see it? Eye contact and G. She's really making sure to G the whole way.
Yeah, she actually accentuated.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like holding it.
Yeah, that doesn't look natural. It's like,
It does look a little unnatural.
It's so fun. It's definitely really, really hard work, long work, a lot more than you think so, but I
Yeah. Well, it's so exciting. I mean, I wish you the best, and I'm glad that you're.
Seems very nervous. Nice, nervous. Cool. You all see it? You see the G?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, who's next? Let's see somebody else.
Yep.
Basically, like the drops come up and.
Infinity, were you able to see the G to Jai on that one?
The G to Xi, you're saying?
No, G versus
Oh,
Jai.
G versus. You know, at first I was questioning it, but it's very clear that first thing you're seeing the Cheshire Cat a lot. I mean, it's kind of funny because I chose Nijai initially as the response, and yeah, I need to do a better job. I mean, a lot of these responses I chose as Nijai when they're actually Nizai, and I think one exercise that I'm going to have to really focus on is to really be able to discriminate between Zhai and Ji at these, as the emoting goes on. I think it's a very pivotal thing for me, for my own exercise.
Totally, and I think for everyone, I think when we focus on that helps me is I know Jai as like a quiet signal, a quiet, vulnerable signal you're almost like not supposed to see. Whereas G,
Right.
it warms me, but it's like a warm you see coming. It's supposed to be like that. So when I feel that, I know that kind of like caressing, pushing warmth is not the way that Jai Mojos do it.
Exactly, and I know that just thinking about it, my Naiji other, I could kind of picture that someone who has that type of emotive smile would be something that would be, someone who would be really attractive to me in general, just to fill the room up with that type of warmth.
Totally.
So in a way, I get it.
Cool. So who do we have that was also Trixie here? I see another 1 out of 7 down towards the bottom. Susan Beer.
Susan Beer.
Did you get her?
Yes.
So you're the only one. Okay, so you got Nijai. What did most other people guess about Susan Beer?
I think Naiji.
Nizai.
Nizai.
I guess Naiji.
Naiji.
That was my only Nizai guess of the entire thing.
How about you, Glenn? We can't hear you. You're on mute, please. Naiji.
Naiji, yeah.
Okay. And then Eagle Eye.
Naiji. I guess Naiji for her.
Okay, so although it's logic-based and values-based, actually everyone guessed G on this one, correct? So last one you guys guessed Jai, it was actually G. Here it's the opposite.
Yeah, it's a reversal.
All right, let's take a look at her then. Susan Beer, look for the Jai and for the values-based emoting.
Okay, so
And tell you what, guys.
Take the lead.
No, don't worry about that. Just jump in. If no one jumps the right way, make sure you guys do.
Okay.
But then let their voices be heard as they feel the time in. I'll try to ask if needs stuff too. We'll make sure we have it back and forth, so make sure there's at least some student feedback.
Yeah. There.
Okay, I'm gonna send the link over to Glenn.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. And go ahead. I'm fast forwarding to. Okay. I'm fast forwarded to 43 seconds. Actually, the free frame on 43 seconds right now. I can see that she is on the right on her Jai. You see poignancy in her face. You see like her cheeks with Jai emotiveness, but it's not going into her eyes. I'm seeing that right away.
Yes.
Miss Shirley. Miss Jaylene.
Yes, Emil.
What's her mojo again?
She is Nijai.
Ninja. Right. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Perspective of children? Is their view more black and white of the world, or?
You know, I think it's probably one of the difference between children and grown-ups is that
She's talking from her right heavily, so she's staying there.
And one of the whole things of the
and you can see the motives, you can see the shy.
Actually, during the course of the film,
you can also hear heavy shy poignancy.
Just out of curiosity, shouldn't we?
I'm totally seeing the unaware Z mouth going on. It seems like more of a deadpan now that I think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we should probably also be comparing Nai and Ni, because that's probably part of the reason that we got this answer wrong.
Good move. I like that. Good suggestion.
I mean,
Ben.
I figure we may as well, since we have this up.
Jai, yeah, it was the primary was Jai and G, but yes, also the Nai.
But, yeah, that'll give us more to talk about too.
Yeah.
Very smart.
So, yeah, so far I don't see perk ups in her. She's staying more on her right, but you do see that she's perceptionally.
But also more compassionate view of the world.
Was there any point during the filming where they kind of struggled with some of the more emotional scenes? Or?
Yeah. I mean, the one who plays Christian basically plays it's like a kind of.
Oh, now you see some perk ups. It's a minute 26.
And he's a very nice.
Her eyes are twinkling, dancing eyes.
True, yeah, the perk ups don't look altered state.
In the beginning, he kind of felt
very comfortable. She looks very comfortable on the right. Period. Which would be an adaptive, not directive. But yeah, you're seeing minute 42. You're seeing a lot of perk up right now.
Just some feedback. I actually can't hear you guys when it's actually playing simultaneously. I don't know why. When it plays, I can't hear the feedback that you're giving.
Okay.
I don't know if there's anything I can do about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that there's anything, so I guess.
Just keep doing what you're doing. Actually, Charlene, and pause occasionally if you can.
Yeah.
Do flow between dashes so
Yep.
Yeah, that would really help. Actually, I don't know why. That's only happening to me.
So what I had said so far, then I'll just recap what I had said.
Yeah, thanks.
To a minute 42, and I was just pointing out that she was doing some perk ups, and the perk ups, and Demas, he was pointing that the perk ups looked natural, not altered. That looked convincing for her, which would kind of invalidate the directive, and like an IG. And her eyes also had a perk up and also twinkling quality to it, not a laser focused V, a V polar, when she did do the perk ups.
Got it.
Well, at minute 42 here, she is a freeze frame, and you can see the perk up right now that she has going on, and it's not a laser perk up. So again, you can see that it's momentum. Yeah. Those were the things that I pointed out. But if anyone wants to jump in,
I see that a little bit more now. Before I was having trouble seeing. The reason why I suggested the 9 thing is I was having trouble seeing the knee of it at first. Because like when I read her, I thought that was Nai, because she doesn't do like a lot of perk ups, so it can get confused sometimes. But when they do happen, it's a lot more notable that it is.
Yeah. Another thing I've been noticing is for articulation. She's not doesn't have warm articulation. That's Z bracing. So which would indicate C as opposed to G.
Right.
If your director's going to say cut, and you can
her gesturing right now, it's like a minute 47, and she's doing some hand gesturing that has looseness to it. It's not tense, percussive. It was yin, and it was natural.
Well, the writer.
Okay, I fast forwarded to minutes 28, where she started talking again. Okay.
And it's not really based on true events, although some of the things in Africa is based on true events, because we dealt a lot with Doctors Without Borders, and
I think here I'll just point out she is on her right a lot again, and then okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want. But the thing is, I don't.
2 minutes 45. You guys saw she had a big broad smile.
Yes, I saw it.
And it went into her cheeks, which
and she's going in and she's going to the right.
Yeah, and going in.
Actually, I would love to rewind that and to see how high up the emoting went as she was doing that, because it almost looked Cheshire Cat-like, and I want to kind of rule out Nizai in that particular case.
It was one thing I see is broad, but you did see her cheeks, the apple of her cheeks.
You could see the apple.
Her mouth. One thing I noticed, she has a wavy mouth.
Yeah.
And sometimes they have that wavy mouth. It can look like it's a G mouth, but I think she just has a wavy mouth.
It's kind of a Carrie Byron mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also Lady Gaga has a wavy mouth as well, and large like that.
Borders, and like the story of Big Man is actually based on a real character. Yeah, that's exactly what you want. But the thing is, I don't think we would have dared writing anything as horrible has that not been based on the real.
Did that jump out to you more, Infinity, when you saw?
Yeah. I saw the apple.
Okay.
And also her laughter emoting was more when she was in, when she did kind of those inward chuckles, like like that. It's different. Like I've even noticed that like when online, like when Infinity and Jilene laugh, it has different quality than Naji and Demas and I.
Yeah.
It's more
interesting.
Like intakes of air.
Wow.
Can you expand a little bit on the sort of theme of sticking up for yourself?
Even here, that's warm.
Matters in your own hands.
So 3 minutes, 2 seconds.
You know, the school can't control something, or
It's all warm here. She's drinking this warm away.
the village. And
Well, there's one Z across the arms. That's funny.
You can't.
Across her arms with Z.
Well, I think she got a little uncomfortable there, or like she tried. I actually saw a maneuver. It was like at 3 minutes 12, I think. She went to cross her arms, but then she realized that would be perceived as, like kind of like she was standoffish. But she did feel a little standoffish.
Yeah.
So you saw her shy head tilt went back a lot at that moment.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Also,
so I'll play that back.
Also,
Yeah, I'd love to see that combo.
Let's look first, because she actually starts with doing a Jai head tilt, then you can see like her Jai is kind of perturbed. Then she like goes into Z, but then comes back, but she still has that like perturbed person.
Oh wow.
That's cool.
Yeah. Oh wait. Sorry.
Well,
I think I went a little bit too close.
in your own hands, but maybe the school can't control something, or with the news that they can.
Have to call people that
Village.
try to give some stuff. Why don't you call us people and see what they
Well,
can
I
say.
mean, you can't
That
tolerate anything. The whole thing is that yes, forgiveness is better than revenge, but you can't tolerate anything, and you can't tolerate somebody being bullied.
Infinity, do you want to point out some things that you're seeing?
Women. So at some point
You're muted by now, right now, by the way.
I mean, I'm just seeing a lot of deadpan Z articulation right now. I mean,
Also set here and fired up.
I mean, it's in complete contrast to the other woman that we were looking at before. Just
The passion comes
worlds
out.
apart.
Totally. And the passion comes out here. Do you notice in the heaviness in her words? Her tongue's a little heavy. It's a little breathy, a little moany. That's where the emotion comes out, not in the articulation.
I'm not hearing the breathy moany as much as I'd like to.
Especially in the beginning when she had the heavy right head tilt is very, very heavy, but she has it throughout.
And listen to
She
this.
actually has a lot of jive.
She does. Listen to this, Infinity. I'll try to do it the best I can. It's a
Okay, cool.
approximation. They do like I'm curious if anyone else can hear this because you do it all the time, actually, Infinity.
Gotcha.
I'm exaggerating. It's this. It's a jive burble before your Z spouts off on something. And so,
I'm sure I do this a ton.
so here she was like, well, and then it only takes it's like a half note of like,
Yeah, like a little
and
hesitation.
then it goes right to Z, clear articulation. But you can tell
So
she's
welling.
it's a welling. It's a welling. Play it back and you hear she goes like, and then to Z. Like right before the words come out and right after.
That's cool.
A guy.
Right there, right there, right there.
So at some point, you have to confront yourself with those kind of elements
There.
of evil. That does not mean that the movie sort of think that you should just go out and avenge and revenge, because
It's like an engine or like a welling up of.
You are never
Yeah,
going
sometimes
to
you hear that sound.
Go ahead.
Is it a side consequence to some degree of, when you're doing the articulation, you can kind of go really bam, 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 and sometimes your brain needs like a second to slow it down to kind of think about what is the next thing I have to say.
Totally, but that's actually we're talking about to a degree is, for example, when as an IG, I'm doing it, and articulation is momentum for me. But I'll also do that well.
So what's the difference?
And more Zyda and IG do more of that. But when they do it like what I just did right now, that's cool.
Yeah, adds a more sharp.
When I'm talking and I need to like handle the corners, when I handle corners, I do it cool. As is a Demas. When she's talking and saying, she's like bop bop bop, and then she kind of needs to like stabilize. Whenever she stabilizes, it's warm. So her moans and groans are warm. And you note that as she kind of weighs words and kind of like prepares herself to go forward. On going forward, that's where she is giving the anvil.
I can relate to that. Okay.
I'm curious, if you guys in IG in particular, I'm curious if you can kind of see that little micro move or hear it where she kind of gives like a, and also you've been online with Infiniti a bit. Actually, Jilene does it more obviously. She has a very pronounced like little moan build up to her articulation. But have you noticed that Infiniti also does it? And I'm curious if you can see it in the sample. Anybody?
Glenn?
You want?
I'm just thinking in terms of like just Jai mojos. But yeah, I mean like it's like the resonating kind of welling up, building up kind of energy before the speaking.
Did everyone hear Glenn? He's done twice so far, but he's talking right now. He actually went ba 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 ba. He did little groany things there, but they were the cool groany of Zai.
Yeah.
You hear it? That's a cool groany of Zai word choice. Zai word choice and pacing out his warm articulation. Do you feel that? All right, Infiniti, why don't you talk a little bit about anything? Everyone, listen to the sounds right before he talks, right after, and under the words. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm right now living in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm hanging around in my home. I'm looking at a table, watching my, a lot of ums. Oh my God. I've got some Dr. Pepper next to me. Looking at the Boston Globe magazine.
Boom. Constantly.
Constantly.
Also, can I say something else? You know, you say like the Spanish way of saying the double L's, where it sounds like a long Y, like polio, el pollo loco. That the tower powers tend to make the tongue more heavy, and so the more you're using your tower power, Zai or Jai, that'll come on more. Adaptives have heavier tongue. In general, the directives, they basically have high viscosity tongue.
That's so interesting.
So what you're hearing is viscosity pickup. Glenn did it less because as a directive, he doesn't need to weigh his articulation as much to take as many pauses. But when he does take those little pauses, they are cool. Infiniti took a lot more. He took them almost every sentence fragment.
Right, because I'm trying to think about the next thing that I'm going to say. It's like it hasn't yet gotten to a point where I'm just ready to say it. Like,
now what you do is, for all of you, is trying to note when that's happening. So for Infiniti, that's going to be more an exercise of registering when I emote, it happens in those in-between beats. And so you're trying to read Nijai, you should not be hit by constant in-your-face emoting. You should be getting quiet emoting inward or intermittent moding within the Z articulation. So that's actually what a Zhai will feel like and a Zhai mojo will feel like. And for Naiji, and also for Zaini, when you have Naiji, you have an other that they're emoting basically something that is done quietly, and you are watching a rather private process. But you're gifted at reading it. All Ji users are gifted at reading Zhai to some degree, particularly in their other. So note that, and that if you feel that you are being more caressed warmly, that's a lot of times the Nizai doing their Ji thing. Zhai will tend to call on you to move forward and to do more massaging on it, or it'll feel like a general safeness. Not as much up, more quiet, more calming, more peaceful, more restful. If you notice, for example, like you're getting kind of like pushed up tempo emotionally, Nizai have a more up tempo energy with their emotive power. And so ironically, people tend to think big mouth is values-based or up tempo emoting. But actually the Nizai often have very large smiles. They smile bigger and more often than Nizai do. And it's this more touching you, pushing you, caressing you up tempo. So when you feel that, you have to separate the impact of that from how strong a signal that is if someone's values-based. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Particularly with the Zhai mojos, they don't do it that way. Oh.
Right. Just a question. When it comes to Ji and Zhai, like in conversation when you're talking with somebody and you're trying to figure out if they're Ji mojo or user or versus a Zhai user. Sort of like if there's a back and forth between you and another person, you might notice like there's a bit of a pause in the conversation, and then you don't know if the other person is Ji or Zhai. If it's Zhai, it would be more like trying to get the other person to sort of say something just to keep the conversation going. But then Ji is kind of like the same in a way, in the sense that it wants to do the push and push back kind of thing. So it's a bit tricky. How would you distinguish between those two kinds of and the way they hit you?
Well, one thing I tend to notice is, and this is easier the more you are familiar with your own Ji and the way the game works. When I'm talking to another Nai Ji or a Nizai out and about different places that you go to, there tends to be more of an automatic acceptance of the Ji dance. And what I'll notice is when I say things to them or give them Ji smile, they tend to actually give reciprocation. I'll tell you some semantics here, but I find it helpful myself on this you're talking about. I find that Ji mojos reciprocate back more what I did. Whereas Zhai mojos, it's not they don't reciprocate, but they tend to more resonate with it, and that's how I know if I did well. They don't actually like...
They absorb it.
Yes, exactly. That's a great word. They absorb it. And if they show that the absorption went well, that's how you know that things are going back and forth well. But they don't necessarily like lob the words back to you. In fact, one thing that's very delicious about Zhai mojos is you'll Ji them, and they don't try and actually go back on the conversation like back and forth. They kind of just go, And so that's a different way of validating other than giving you words. They'll just change tonally.
The tone in terms of the way that they sort of resonate, it'll be either like, or it'll be like, or something like that, and then you can see that. And then the Ji will be kind of, like for an Nai Ji like myself, it'll be like, I need to sort of change the Zhai and the way it's, resonating, and so by saying the right thing in terms of heroic and conduct and all that.
Definitely. And something else.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, please. You're saying?
Oh, and Ji is different in the sense that it's just more like it's sort of like more of a dance, not a dance, like a game, or just like you're just pushing and pushing back, and it's more reciprocation, like you said. Like oh, I'm going to do this, and then the person's like, oh, yes, and thank you, yeah, and then it's sort of like a...
There's rules of
more,
engagement to it. Yeah, does have rules of engagement. Jai doesn't go that way. That's a very good point, Glenn. It's something else I noticed, and Nizai are awesome. So just saying that. But for me as an IG, one thing that I use to note them is the fact that they are not the ideal inspirational, and where that comes in is it's much less than say like Nai G to Nai G because not another directive. But Nizai do use G, and one thing I noticed is when I'm talking to Nizai, I'm aware of G's story. Even if they're being very friendly, I just feel like they're more aware of it. In a weird way, I'm curious, you G users know what I'm talking about. I actually find that inhibits me a little bit. Like as an IG, I like being around other IG, for example, who are cool, and that can be very, very motivating and bring up a lot of abilities on my part. But there's a point that you need for like intimacy, like real like total intimacy. I would need to have the values-based other to myself, not be noting, oh, this is very subtle, but I note this, it's pretty to say Nizai because there's like the inspirational connection, is that they're rating my performance. I noticed that the Nizai, they are G-ing me. They're giving me like a G score, and there's more of an awareness of how that works, which actually is kind of funny. In some ways, does make Nizai easier to talk to, because they have G, and they actually know how the G works. But that actually is why the conversation cannot go as deep as G to Jai can, because there needs to be one person doing it. It's a subtle feeling, but you'll feel when the other person's almost doing your steps. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, when we and IG talk to each other, this can be very, very cool, is one person says something to G about a topic, and then the other person will come in and will like add to that, almost like we're doing a relay race on it. But for example, Infinity and Jailene, they don't do it that way. They actually go like, and they'll resonate, and they'll take it inside and do things with it, which is totally different and really wonderful. And actually, I was trying to search the words here. I would say, Glenn, I feel a subtle increase in performance anxiety related to G around Nizai.
It's because I think
because they have it, I do that. The Jai actually, ironically, makes me feel bold, because more like looking for you to do your G, like impress me with the G stuff you do, but it doesn't really know what it is, which actually makes me more loose.
Yeah.
I feel a little tighter talking to another G mojo sometimes, or G user. I'm sorry.
I think it's good. I think it has to do with the fact that because they have the same powers as you do, right? And that kind of creates a bit of a kind of like a competitive thing there.
Yes.
There's no overlap.
A little bit.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I do sense that overlap, and that's the things that cues me off in high like fifth gear level. Is I notice that I don't feel that with Jai mojos usually. Although on that, I sometimes have to watch out for really like super feisty, say Nijai. They do a lot of Z. That can sometimes bring out like a competitive instinct that I may confuse for that. But usually, if you look long enough, you can see the difference.
Got it.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, I know what you mean by that.
All right. So I think it's a good time to start doing some live reads. All right.
Yeah.
Pull something up. I think we'll try maybe doing. Use some requests or post them on this list. I was actually, I think some of them are
Now, what type of read are we doing? Are we doing like a jury type of read like last week? How are we gonna do it this time?
You guys can do based like a jury read, but then you're allowed to have dissent. That's fine. But I think the main thing is to actually bounce off each other and to verbalize your mental chatter for the audience.
Cool.
But if you guys don't come to consensus, that's fine. That's really cool.
Oh, okay. So we're if by the end we still don't like agree,
Just like before.
you can branch off and like have your own opinion if you want to.
That's really fine. But
Okay, that's fine.
Use your group powers together,
Yeah.
and the audience hear what you're thinking as you talk to each other.
We'll try to find a consensus.
We'll try.
So you were saying I'll put one of the requests in.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
that cool? Or you
Yeah, totally cool. Let's do Rob Reinhardt.
Reinhardt, creator of Soylent, an open source nutritional drink. See?
Are we gonna watch an infomercial?
We are not watching the infomercial.
Okay.
That would be fascinating. But I think, yeah, there's an interview here of him with Tim Riva at the Digital Health Summit. And again, we'll have the links below. Let's see.
Right, I was just going to say, thanks.
I mean, okay. Let me, there's the link blend. So we will get started. Here we go.
You got links.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, it's Tim Ria here at Studio Digital Health Live at CS 2014. All in was the last panel.
I guess I'm seeing. We did a head tilt, and it looked cool.
I would say 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Before it's saying anything.
It's now 30 seconds.
I was reading an article about Soylent and
that's something that I didn't see.
Tell everybody about your background. What do you do?
My background is in electrical engineering and computer science. I was working at a startup and it was very busy, and I was very unhealthy. It seems like the big problem today is people are stressed. People don't have a lot of time. People need a little more simplicity in their life. And
I feel like I'm seeing a lot of just Z, a lot of just unaware mouth Z.
I am not seeing that. I'm seeing G, and I'm seeing
G.
Held,
Okay.
G held with Xi.
Okay.
we did, and I think found it one of my biggest hassles, one of my biggest.
So let's see. I don't know. Right now, I guess
I still was eating that well, so I thought maybe we could simplify.
I'm seeing a riff of Steve Jobs. I don't know. That's what I kind of want to see.
The essentials, get exactly what you need and nothing you don't. I wondered what that would taste like.
Okay.
So it turns out it's pretty great.
Okay. Yeah.
So I did some research.
I don't want to. Yeah.
Pin
anything.
It's okay, because you're a very strong reader, so.
Hassle-free, healthy, easy, cheap, staple meal. You know, when you don't
Okay.
worry about
I'll let others come in with their thoughts.
Always there. It doesn't spoil for a long time. It costs $3 a meal. It's delivered right to your door. We'll go into a grocery store. No doing dishes. No cooking. Of course, you can still do all that if you want. It's just nice to have an option.
I totally get it, because we're doing these events. I called Jill Gilbert.
It doesn't even have to be like economies or powers. What are you taking? How much gain?
I saw that smile now at a minute. Did you guys see? Okay, so did you guys see the emoting at a minute 52? I'll play it back. We can take a look and see how far that comes up.
Totally get it, because we're doing these events. I called Jill Gilbert, the producer of the show. She's running around. We're all running around. Like,
yeah, there. You see it?
I'd be actually accustomed.
Yeah, I think a lot of people use it for a lot of different things.
Yeah, I saw it. I am leaning towards ad serp right now.
You're leaning towards what, Ben?
Ad serp. That's what I'm leaning towards.
Ad serp. Okay.
And still be able to be healthy.
I'm leaning towards. Well, I won't say I'm leaning towards Naiji actually. I see this. Go ahead.
No, for sure. What I'm gonna say is, I see what you're saying, and the way he's looking at him, kind of positioning himself, and also look at these glances at the camera. That looks Hunter right there.
That is Hunter.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that as
It's
well.
very complicated. Thousands of different chemicals that's made up of it. You may say you feel great, but you don't really know what is really going on in your body. And so I decided to be very proactive about tracking all of these different parameters for my own health And then once we started expanding the product into testing
okay.
people,
I don't know. You guys can jump in whenever you want. Another thing that I'm noting is, in the adaptive versus directive thing, is he's articulating very easily, and he's monologuing right now, which leans me more towards a directive mojo, and one that has, if not articulation as a primary, they have it, and one of their top two.
I do see that. I think I see the monologue in form of articulation where it's directive, but at the same time, it's kind of being channeled.
Long-winded.
This could be something.
I can see he's looking at him, but like it's kind of a strain to look at him where it kind of keeps going back. Doing 1,000-yard stairs.
We're going to try to keep the show not boring. I have a question about like what's my body look like?
Again, I see.
Yeah, I see it right there. Like
normal. I mean, it has all this fiber. As far
his cheeks kind of have this weird.
Go ahead, Ben.
Well, there's this like hunterish like look to the way the cheeks kind of go like this. I don't really know how to explain it. But you can see that it's not just like it's not just like unflappable. Like there's something moving right here.
It actually doesn't look falling.
Not right now, but like a few seconds ago when he was smiling.
Yeah, and another point you're making.
But I'm in agreement with that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in.
Because you brought up unflappability, and I was saying that doesn't look like a natural kind of unflappability.
Oh, I see. Sorry. Okay, that makes sense.
Most people don't get enough vitamin D. All of these random things. Most people get too much cholesterol, trans fats. All these things. It has everything you need and nothing you don't. It's very smooth. It tastes pretty okay. Not overly stimulating, which means you don't get tired of it. So
I know he's doing a pitch right now. So it's like a rehearsed sort of thing, but he is very comfortable in just doing that monologue.
In February, you can still pre-order now at Soylent.me, and we should be able to serve we've had a lot of orders, and we should be able to get it out to everyone throughout March. And we're continuing to develop and improve the products. And I've been living on it the past year. It's great. Yeah, not all the time. I mean, eating to me is something I do for fun, to socialize. Go out, grab a burger with some friends. That's what I want to do. I don't want to cook in the morning. I like to detach from that, not have the hassle.
All right, well, we have to get on the program, and I've been telling my guys like we
get a big smile. 4:45.
I got 100 here, so I look forward to seeing you again.
I haven't seen it go into the eyes. I do see it going into the cheeks, though. Okay, let's put another interview on.
You guys are going to the second interview. I haven't even got to see the first one. It didn't load.
Oh no!
I mean, it didn't load.
Oh, it didn't load. The interview didn't load.
Because my internet and my computer gets really slow whenever I do these Google Hangouts. That's the thing.
Oh.
Right.
Bummer.
Very computationally expensive in that sense.
Right.
Okay, so I'm searching here for interviews. I think I'm going to have to go to the regular YouTube. Sometimes, like the YouTube app for Google Hangout limits the amount of interviews.
This might be a useful one too.
Oh, really?
I mean, if no other choice.
Right. Park.
I wonder if that's just a still thumbnail.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking it might be.
I'm not seeing the video right now.
Go with the Soylent experiment. I'm sorry, did somebody? I heard Ben.
Oh, I'm not seeing the video right now.
Okay.
Yeah, neither am I. I just heard some cutesy music.
Well, there's no, yeah, there wasn't. video. We were actually just looking at it as we were trying to see if we saw a video that was available. Let's see.
A nice little jingle.
Nice little jingle. Exactly. While you wait. Like elevator music.
It's elevator music.
Yeah. There's okay. So doesn't look like there's another interview of him by himself. I think there's this Soylent how I stopped eating for 30 days. Let me see if that has the footage for him.
He stopped eating for 30 days.
Yeah. I guess I'm thinking that that's in the. Oh, hold on.
There might be more to this story.
I have classic leaf feeder to on a leaf feeder and go back, correct.
Control.
Thank you very much.
Okay, here we go. Glenn, here's the link to this one. You'll have better luck with this one.
Sorry.
Okay, so this is him at a minute 26.
30 days of liquid goo. We're en route to Silver
Okay, so this looks like
across
okay.
the way in Oakland here. That where Rob Reinhardt and his team make the
So
future.
this is not him,
That's not him, no.
but people will be meeting him.
There he is.
I don't think we're going to feed an exploding population with organic farms. We're going to need to look to the future.
So I see a head tilt on the right, and I see cooling
Science and technology. So, this
on
idea
this
is
I
expression.
do hear the cooling in his
solve,
voice.
a lot of problems that we have, not just hunger.
I hear the cooling, but I think he's just muting. Like, I think it's it's natural state G persuasion, but I think he's just muting it a lot with his eye.
Right. The tone doesn't sound like tower tone or you know.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like tower tunnel.
Yeah.
It just sounds like he's muting his natural state G.
I'm very optimistic about the future. I think it's going to be great. People are going to be very healthy and energetic. Our environmental impact will decrease. We're going to have abundance. I have a very strong memory of when I was very young, I think 6 or something. I was eating lettuce or kale or something, and I remember thinking it was very strange.
Okay, so I see a right head tilt.
As a human, not like
His
living in
eyes
this
look
house and going to
cunning
school
to me.
Yeah.
and leaves.
Yeah, that looks kind to me.
The animals. Why would I eat this?
The hand. Oh, it's not really good time to put it that cute.
A lot more feral.
He still has issues with food. As a 24-year-old software engineer, he decided he was tired of our status quo eating habits.
And he has
He set out to invent the food tomorrow.
Zai. I see that Nyan Zai there with the attachment. Right now he's working on his
He lived on it
computer.
for 30
Yeah.
days. The first few days was kind of nerve-wracking. I felt like I was
That hand, it's not moving much, but you can see rigidity in it. Native Yang, native
Yeah, I agree.
rigidness. Like when he leans it on his leg, it stays upright. Not entirely upright, but like straight. You know, it doesn't hang.
was a bona fide online sensation. And indeed, this is Rob's third and most successful venture. Cheers.
Where exactly are you in the video?
We are right now at 4 minutes 13 seconds,
Alright.
where he's drinking. He's actually freeze framing right now. He's drinking the drink while he has cunning eyes,
Yeah.
like hunting hunter eyes, looking past where he's drinking.
His body movements in general seem rigid.
That makes sense.
Okay.
They're clearly influenced by the culture of Silicon Valley, but instead of designing apps, they're working with food. I remember the day we launched, we were just blasting music. I was so excited about the point, so happy. This first milestone of success, and we that first thing for us. Yeah, something that was cool. Give it finally a try. And what is it exactly that everyone is so eager to buy? soil is a bare bones nutritional mixture.
Okay, let me fast
Optimal
forward.
amounts of
Okay.
all of these
I'm
different
at 5 minutes 21 seconds.
From there, you're optimizing for viability, cost, sustainability, which is why we went to vegan, and eventually we'd like to get something as independent of agriculture as possible.
I'm seeing also another one that is coming to mind is Jamie Heineman from Mythbusters. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's an IG that has a lot of Zai, and he has a beard, as opposed to this guy, but you can still like that held. I'm getting the same sort of riff.
His riff is a very stiff riff. Yeah, they hold themselves very tightly, and even has the same tone of voice.
Yeah, sort of a more.
The Zai, it adds a kind of monotone quality.
Yeah, it adds a monotone quality to it. Right.
When it's below G, it kind of makes the person sound a bit. I think, like Mitchell, he's described it many times as like gravelly. I think, and it's hard to describe exactly.
It has gravelly, like you're holding like brakes on something, like on an engine, but sort of, at a monotone sort of.
Yeah, I think it's more like it's definitely like there's a desire to want to let go and sort of just allow yourself to flow properly. But the Zai is kind of putting in like those brakes, and it kind of creates that kind of like an inability to just completely allow yourself to freely speak on something. I think that's not just in terms of articulation verbally, but just like anything really.
Yeah.
And also, you guys will notice singing Zai, it's not calming.
Yeah, it's not calming.
Momentum Zai, calming.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Directives, they make you move, right? I mean,
yeah.
Fire movement.
With something as little as a look, not just in your voice. With the looks that you would give to the cameras, you could see Natural Say setting down in just those looks.
Oh my goodness.
It sounds like you guys have sense on.
Yeah. Are you guys? Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay, that is correct. We have a call from Coach. It is Naiji. But yeah, Steve Jobs. He gives me very heavy Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. Is he the future Steve Jobs? But, he told us that in the future we won't have any resources, so that Soylent is, whether you like it or not, in the future you will have like that. Or
I don't know. I'm sure there are plenty of Naiji who've made business investments there.
Yeah.
I can respect space. All right. So let's see what's on the requests.
Okay. So I will put here.
Yeah, then soft read. Let's see. How about Georgina Haig?
Georgina Haig. Okay. Georgina Haig. An actress on Fringe. Let me see here. Her. Okay. Yeah, we have several interviews with her, so we are good. Let me load one up. Get the link to Glenn. We'll get started.
So the other guy, he was read as an IG?
Yes.
Yes.
I was just noticing he's different. He's a bit different than Steve Jobs, I think, because Steve Jobs is a lot more, I think, matured, and he's got like a more soft-spoken kind of G, whereas he kind of seemed a little bit more, I think, a little bit more choppy.
I think he was more in
his game.
Heineman and Steve Jobs.
Work in progress.
Yeah, he's a work in.
Steve Jobs is a bit more dominant.
Yeah.
That's true.
Has more
Good
charisma, more charisma. But I think I could see, because I could see when he would let go of his, when his G came up more.
He wants to prove himself more.
Yeah,
I
he
think
had warm and charismatic G, so I can see it's there. And I think that right now there's a lot of pressure and expectation on him.
I think he
so
was falling
he's
too
high
beats.
up.
I think right now, I don't know if he's thinking of it like in a conscious way, but probably Just he needs to accomplish some feats. The public are like, okay, that guy's a genius.
Yeah.
And then I think
Yeah.
he'll be able to loosen up a bit more.
Yeah.
I'm sure. So what are we doing now?
Okay, so we're doing Georgina Haig, and I'm giving the link to.
I go call it the video as well.
Yeah, so it's and we're gonna have it down below, but it's Fringe Latino, Fringe 5. So I'll send you the link, Glenn.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Joining the show.
Okay, so we're at 7 seconds right now. We're gonna start watching.
It's been an amazing experience for me.
Interesting.
Because it's such an established and well-loved show, and I think part of me was a little bit terrified coming in and.
We're gonna let it go to 30 seconds, and then we can start and saying what we're
having
gathered.
to join the family at this really late stage was daunting, I guess. But
okay.
But it kind of worked.
Feel free to jump in. I mean, things.
419 is all about.
I see her eyes. And her eyes are large. They look dancing.
Who her parents are, and what they did in the world before. You know,
I agree with both of those.
And she's searching for answers, and that
Totally agree.
as an actor as well.
Still taking in the emotiveness. I don't see a lot of emotiveness. And I don't see anything in going in her cheeks yet, but that doesn't mean that it's not there.
Ed is the daughter of Peter and Olivia, and they get separated when she's 3 years old. 3, 9. They get separated, and Peter and Olivia can't find her, and they end up having to. Peter and Olivia end up having to amber themselves because they get into a dangerous situation, and the only way they can survive, so they amber themselves.
She's talking about something very emotional. That story, I don't see her cheeks moving at all.
I eventually, I work out who my real parents are and decide that I want to fight the observers like they were.
Her voice.
And so I joined Fringe Division.
But
in our world, Fringe Division actually works for the observers, but I kind of am a double agent. I'm a war baby. I've been brought up in a very harsh world where it's very much survival of the fittest, and we've been fighting. I've been fighting an oppressive regime from a very young age, and I think my sense of morality is much more black and white.
So your eyes pop and
Olivia, like you either do what you have to do to live, or
the voice sounds. I'm not watching the video yet. I can just listening to the sound that you guys have on your end. But it sounds like she's very kind of monotone. I don't know.
Monotone? Yeah, I would say for like the, she's talking about something very dramatic. I don't hear a lot of.
Welling up.
Yeah. Or a higher register in the emotive tone.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to see more of her
to
like really get a solid observation. But
yeah.
I just want to point out what the cheeks are striking to me though. Like I'm getting a lot of cheeks. Like that's popping to me. Yeah.
Doesn't have.
And I don't see them going very far into them right now.
Right.
You see more like continents, not really a lot of archipelagos.
More sheer, it seems like, right now. Of course, it would be good to cross-contextualize, I think, with another interview for her.
And
this one is a little more green, like has a film to it, so I want to like let that wash off. But
and I've seen terrible things that they've done, and they've done terrible things to people I know. So I'm
noting though her emoting that she is doing is she's going to the left and articulating as she's doing. I'll just note that. Let's see. Let me pull one from here.
One thing, Charlie.
What's up?
Wonderful. Verbiage. Let's go with "it looks like to me."
Okay.
So it's otherwise it looks like there's a case being closed.
Yeah.
I never feel like the case is like being open, so kind of like emphasizing.
Yeah, I agree. That's a better way of doing it.
Coach. Great.
Better way of ritualizing it to all of our spirits. Like if we say like it is, then it's
It's not
Right.
it doesn't feel as open, and we're less likely to get it if it happens to be something else.
good.
So.
Exactly.
Yeah, very true.
You're just saying like it looks like that to me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
we
it's sometimes hard to remember that. To remember the to me part. I could have trouble remembering that sometimes, to add the to me. So.
Right, could be a Z thing.
Yeah.
But for this case, the way it's verbalized should be verbalized as in, I have like a telescope, and I think my telescope is seeing this. Not
Exactly.
Exactly.
We have some more interviews, but they're shorter, so FYI.
That's fine.
Yeah, this one didn't load for me at all. It just gave me an error.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Here's the next one.
Cool. Check this one.
Okay. Here we go. Just thanking your fans.
Like this in the film Road Train, which will be released as Roadkill in the States. And if you voted for our trailer, thank you so much, because we'd love to see it in the cinemas over there.
I guess that was it. Okay. That wasn't very much. Okay.
She actually kind of reminds me of that one guy from Game of Thrones.
Natalie Dormer? Is she one of them, or which ones?
It was the one that Coach talked about in one of his videos.
It's Natalie Dormer. Yeah.
Emma Bianco?
Not sure.
Esme Bianco, I think.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. More slimmer, blonder, kind of just like, but her voice, the way it kind of
Interesting.
Yeah.
I see where you're coming from.
sounded similar.
Yeah, she's
Yes.
also the girl from the Blacklist. I don't know if you've ever seen that. She's a Nizai as well. Although she does have softer features, but something about how her tone of her voice and how she articulates. Okay, let's see. I think we might have another 30 seconds left here. Let's see. Yeah.
Actually, in that previous frame, she's giving me a little Dakota fan.
Mm.
Yeah, there's a link. So we are at 4 seconds. Yeah, 4 seconds. You can see the still. She is looking like Dakota Finn a lot. I'm seeing the G pucker there.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing she looks natural, like cool. This one has a much better lighting, natural lighting.
Dina Haig, and I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to play Grace in the new Australian independent feature Nerve, directed by Sebastian Guy. If you get a chance, please come see and support our film. It's on the 12th of June at the Sydney Film Festival.
It was definitely the accent that they have in common. Esme Bianco.
Mm-hmm. I think this is all we're going to get as far as interview.
Really
This one's a little tougher. But what do you guys seeing. I'll call on Ben. What are you seeing?
I don't know. I think she's a Nizai. I don't see the emoting going into the cheeks. They seem rather inflappable to me.
So if you had to call it, you'd say Nizai right now.
And I would do the same.
Okay. How about you, Glenn?
I feel like she's definitely an answer. I'm leaning a more on Nizai though.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Amiel?
At first, I was thinking Nijai for her, but with further video footage, her mouth seems G to me because I think I saw some G mouth wrestling somewhere. I would guess Nizai also.
Okay. How about you, Mr.
Dichotomy that I'm most comfortable with is Knee Alpha, but right now I'm at Nizai.
And I think I'm comfortable with saying Nizai for her, from what I've seen.
She is Nizai. And I liked how you all were saying how you got to where you were. And also, Glenn, I like him saying sort of like he was even at a duo. So everyone, don't force a read. Actually just say what you think you can read or where you're at. That's really, really good. And also the process that took you there. That'll be gold for everyone. So it's a great job.
Okay, so you don't even need to say a mojo specific. We can just say like we think like a hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Because a lot of times doing reading properly is reading yourself and noting like that's what I can see. Do you know what I mean? And like if I try and force it, I'm really just guessing. And you will be able to distinguish between when I'm reading and when I'm guessing. So take it as far as you think you can read something. And that you'll start learning what it feels like when you have it.
Right.
And then also the steps you took to get there, that you guys are doing, like which groupings you went to until you got to where you were, that's great too. I think that's very beneficial for people watching. Let's do one more.
Okay, I'll capture those.
Is it okay if we request just in the Hangout for a sample?
Well, the thing is that I had to read it on the spot, and I don't know how tired I am and whatnot, but I can give it a go. I can give it a try. What do you want to do?
I just wanted to shoot the idea your way. I don't know if I can't remember anyone off my top of my head. I'll just.
Yeah, I can give it a go. What I'll do is I'll try and read it real quick in a few minutes, and if I can pull it, then I'll tell you guys to go ahead and use it. If not, we'll have to do that another time in the lab. Sound good?
Yep.
Right.
But there's a high likelihood I can probably pull it.
It's just that I can't think of any read right now. That's the thing. I was just trying to get the idea.
In the future, yeah, I don't mind that, and then I'll just try it so I can get it.
Sure.
A lot of times I can.
So.
How about you? What about Garrison Kalor? It's an interesting name.
Yeah.
Is that one of yours, Infinity?
Yeah, Garrison Kaler. What?
Yeah, just check.
Yeah, Wobegon. Very, very common PBS person.
How about SpongeBob? SpongeBob was in there. He's well known. There it is, Todd Allen Clem.
The voice actor.
Yeah, let's read SpongeBob.
Bubba the Love Sponge?
Right, that's him.
Not Bob.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's do Bubba the Love Sponge.
That's right. One's the cartoon, one's the radio guy. My bad.
And I don't think there's.
Love Sponge. I was thinking about SpongeBob in a completely different way all of a sudden.
They're like opposite ends of the sponge spectrum.
How about Chris Berman? I'll try to-
Oh, ESPN.
I read these actually. If you need, I've had the answers. I'm just trying to find one that'd be good for the team to use.
Chris Berman looks like we. No, there's not.
He's mainly an interviewer.
Go all the way.
Go back. What about the Dan Patrick show? Chris Berman on the Dan Patrick show?
Okay, so we'll only have one.
But it's 24 minutes.
Okay.
24 minutes.
Okay.
Rock and roll.
You know.
Yeah, that's true. Charlie made a good point. Is that we only have one video to work with, but I don't know. I think guys might be able to do it. But yes, for those who are watching, you usually have at least 2 videos to cross-contextualize.
Just watch more ESPN, you'll be fine.
Okay. But for tonight, we don't have that. So for tonight.
Right.
Cool. So.
Although there is one more video that's like a minute 15 seconds. Actually, we do have 2 videos.
Okay, I just sent the link to Glenn.
Alright, got it.
Alright.
And not sure the last time you were on the show, but I do want to go back to the first show I ever did at Sports Center.
That would be ancient history. Nice to see. What have you done with yourself since you've left?
You know what? I'm trying to regroup here. You see the guys I'm working with here. Chris. It's not exactly murderer's row.
Well, look, I feel like I'm going to be. It's like the Olympics. Like the Russian judge is going to give me a 6 if I skate well. I don't know. Fritz, I don't know.
But I tell people this. That
So this is Patrick from SpongeBob?
First show there, you had done the 11 o'clock Sports Center. I was going to do the 2 o'clock.
Yeah, we're reading Chris
And
Berman.
you stayed and said,
The guest.
It was just so, it was gracious that you did it. You said, I'll stay. So you waited 3 more hours to do another show. And I always thought that was the one thought when I ever think of you that you did, you were gracious in doing it. Because it was your building. It was your show.
Well, you got me on a bad day. You know what? It was. You were moving in to be another one of our, and we've seen it, CNN obviously, and we were moving in to be one of our main anchors, and so this is where we sit. That you sit on that side, I sit over here. You know, as long as we get that straight. You know,
and you were loud too. I remember saying how loud you were in the highlights because I wasn't used to doing highlights with somebody else. And my first night, I went, man, you're loud. You can always go back to CNN.
So what I said, so you got me in a good day then. So. Well, that's the Boomer. I mean, that nickname is from my first year there. One of the overnight engineers.
Oh yeah.
Said, God, you're loud on these highlights. I said, yeah, but I'm just doing them. And you're the Boomer. Okay, and it stuck.
If you look at the transition from where ESPN was, now certainly when you started, but when I got there to where it is now, and look at the Super Bowl, can you see a parallel with the growth of where Super Bowl was, where nobody was watching. Tickets were $8 for the first Super Bowl.
I'll throw it out there. I'm seeing
racingness.
racingness.
You didn't know who was watching.
I don't see emotiveness coming up in his face, and there's a particular shy. I think I'm seeing that. So I think I'm seeing that.
I might as well up till now. I think I'm seeing this. I think I'm seeing a Zemo Joe. The hands look.
So it had already become a big deal, obviously. The Steelers and
naturally
Cowboys,
rated.
I mean, all that.
This looks like cool articulation.
So if I'm going to compare it with the Super Bowls in the 60s, maybe you can. Now, what we did at ESPN
I think I'm hearing
was
grappling
kind of how we figured things out. We don't have rights to events like the Super Bowl. But we're going to do everything.
Yeah, I'm hearing that as well.
Time,
kind of this bringy
in the 80s,
to it.
One's on, okay, so Tuesday, here's some stuff for media day, and Wednesday, here's the breakfast, and here's, other than the game, and the network's pregame show was carrying it, we had it. So it was, we didn't make it, but brought it home to people freezing in Wisconsin, and we're having
Interesting. I noticed when he looked to
here's
the
the
left,
Super Bowl, all
didn't
week
seem
long,
like he was grabbing a
drummed it
memory.
up. We're going to hand the game over to the network, and then come on back with us after it's over. That was kind of a smart thing. And you were involved.
Would you be
Is
successful?
he the guy on the left with the green shirt?
Trying to do.
Say that again, Glenn.
No,
Is that the guy on the left?
He's the guy on the right. So the one
he's the
who's
one on the right wearing the jacket.
Yeah.
The bald guy.
The bald guy. Balding.
The black jacket.
Yeah.
Well, he He's not totally bald. I mean,
Right.
Balding, yeah.
Balding.
we got a bit of a comb over thing.
Your style.
Oh, my style?
Yeah, if you're doing the highlights the way you did when you first started, and you came into ESPN to do that now.
I'd like to think so because, that's a good question, I've not really changed in my attitude toward I'm excited about the games I'm covering. I try to do highlights as if they're live. I understand that now people can see them instantly on their phone. I get that. But not everybody does. You can't assume, right, Dan, that everyone has seen that. So give it to them like the game is happening live. Here's a 3-minute highlight of the Baltimore beating New England in the AFC Championship game, for example. Give it to them like it's like, don't say he's 2 yards for a... No. He's at the 10, touchdown, 52 yards. There's little differences like that. But I never did them, honestly. I think you know me well enough. Hey, I'm going to be noticed if I am an excitable boy.
So I'm seeing a
You
lot.
know what I mean?
I think I'm seeing a lot of
Anvil
expression on his face, and also I think I'm seeing him in an almost constant jutting position now, like 4 minutes.
Realize what we got away with when we were doing scripts, because most of the time management wasn't staying up to watch us, which was good.
Very good.
And then all of a sudden, they started watching us, and then we realized that now we have to grow up a little bit here. But the freedom to... But I think also that...
pilots, they do, what kind of a variation of a hunter hunch? Because, I mean, a hunter hunch is like for hunters, but what kind of a thing do pilots do?
They
That's
have
kind of like a
yeah, but they will have somewhat of a hunch, but it's more hulking.
Yeah. And I think that that's why I bring up the double jut, because you'll see like the hunch forward, but also a jut into that.
This isn't so much though. You guys are asking the difference between pilots and hunters?
Yeah.
Okay, this is for all pilots and hunters in general, variations, but they both tend to be forward a bit on the axis, but the hunters tend to be a bit curved more, a bit more sloped in inside, whereas the pilots tend to actually have more of the chest going forward, chest, shoulder, face, like this. A little more erect, projected energy, as opposed to this, a little more rounded punch, but both are forward. So.
Right. Okay.
I couldn't quite see the video or like what you were doing with your hands or anything. So like the curve, sort of like a punching over and into yourself, sort of, versus a fighter, which is more like a linear, like a line angle.
Linear, yes, and basically they both lean forward, but the spine of pilots tends to be more erect.
I see.
The hunter,
it doesn't.
More, but they don't tend to have as more upright of a posture, or more.
The pilots, it doesn't like curve the other way, right? Like a gatherers or like a adaptive, it doesn't curve the other way.
No, it tends to just be more strong of the spine in some ways, like a forward tilt without a curvature as much. For lack of better expression, sometimes it almost seems like the way the carriage of pilots have it is that it's more load-bearing than the hunters is. Like they're
carrying around heavier weight.
I don't want to say too much more because I don't actually give anything away what this sample is. So I think I've given that pretty well. I'll let you guys go ahead and finish this read before we talk anymore.
Okay. Here's what we didn't do. We didn't put an egg on our face. It wasn't the Three Stooges. It wasn't at the night of the Improv. Yeah, we're a little off the tracks, and I'll predate you at our place a little bit, but I'm forever grateful to Chet Simmons and Scotty Connell. The Rasmussen started us with Chet and Scotty.
I think I'm still seeing
I was the overnight guy. It was a 3 a.m. show. You're here by yourself in the middle of Connecticut at 16 bucks. Good luck to you, you know? And I did my thing. And again, we had very good pictures of games back then. Then you put up Seattle 5's Kansas City 2.
I'm going to comment that when he does these perk-ups, a lot of times he does the jut perk-up. The perk-ups look a bit more kind of bug-eyed, laser-eyed, instead of Actually, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, like that lock on inflicts a bit more cunning, as opposed to like altered state knee eyes or dancing eyes or something like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
would agree.
And I see another guy at night, he's a little, the train is running a little. And I know he said in real uncertain terms, leave him alone. He's going to be okay. Just leave him alone. He never admitted it until kind of the end, and he said, yeah, maybe I did. And so to your point, without that freedom...
I'm getting a bit of a syncopation in his voice.
Users.
A syncopation or a or
No, syncopation.
We're not going to do async.
Yeah.
Kind of.
We were
I don't want to say graveliness in his voice because that's more of an associated with a YZ thing, but grittiness in his voice. It sounds like it's more like a.
I'm gonna head you all off. This is a by Z.
Oh.
I was wondering.
It was interesting because you guys are kind of having a debate there on that, and I think Glenn was kind of wondering if there was a hunter thing going on. There was actually, and that is hard Franzi. That is the droney gravel of the by Z.
Okay.
Z seems like a.
Let's get a note.
Feature with him.
I think some of the by Z we've known in the past have been a lot of athletes, and a lot of them aren't big talkers. But there is a River by Z that does sports casting, and they tend to actually be a lot more animated, like Skip Bayless, Chael Sonnen, and they have a lot more Z and knee use. So why don't you guys go ahead and keep watching here now that you guys know that.
Cause? But we were rebels without a clue.
Well, one of my first memories, though, we're talking to Chris Berman, in case you're just tuning in and you don't recognize the voice, but you guys, what was going on there? Let's say that there were some wagers going on when I first got there, and there was a San Diego Padre game.
Wow.
And you guys got wind of...
We were into all the games. This is very early.
Well, we had a ticker, though.
The big wager was $10 or something. You know? There was this room in the back. Was that before? That was gone by the time
yes,
we got
it was.
there. The stores in the early 80s.
Gravel right there.
Yeah, the graveliness. I was trying to put my finger on what kind of graveliness that is. Like, is that like a basketball kind of tone, or is that?
You have to wait till they
But,
updated the thing. So
what's the name of the other?
Don't look at me. There were a couple of people that might have
John
got a
Madden. Was that a
little
John Madden?
excited with some reason. If the Padres needed a run in the night, they'd go in the back and rub the ticker for a run, you know? But we were just having fun because we're there in the middle of the night. I remember one night, it's a guy who you respect, the late Tommy's. We love Tommy. I did the overnight shows with him many, many years. And we're sitting
There's
there
more operator hands than
doing
builder
the
hands.
show, and there's a Jaguar.
Interesting. Do we have any male sportscasters that aren't Phi Alpha?
63.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of Z9.
There are? Okay.
Actually, there might even be more Z9.
After that,
but there's a lot of it's Z9, by Z, and by G. I think Z9 is probably the most popular.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That kind of makes sense.
The top three: Z9, by Z, by G.
Yeah, Z9 by Z by G.
For by Z, he seems to have like a pretty big kind of head.
He has a big head.
Yeah, that's true.
He does have big noggin. He does.
Yes.
But the energy
and a big jaw.
Instead of pugnacious, look at this. Z Alpha have a pugnacious quality. But going with the canine theme, the Zez Hunters, Z by Z, it's hangdog. More hangdog. What he's doing there is not so much pugnacious like a Trump, but more hangdog like a Tommy Franks general. Look at Tommy Franks. He gives him a bit of rip at Tommy Franks. I guess
pugnacious.
Never mind. But anyway, he gives him rip at Tommy Franks. Who does a lot of Z and gives a lot of presentation presenting strength. But again, the longer lines. His wrists, they're not yin like an adaptive, but they are more yin than a pilot, like mine are.
Yes.
But there is more yinness, a longness in the wrists, a longness in the fingers that doesn't give quite the solidness that the pilots have. So looks
I
good like-
see that. That makes sense.
Yeah, for me it was that. That hit me a lot, and then the drone. The drone was quite pronounced as well. And then right there he does his little jaw like, it's more the hangdog we often noted with the Nye Z, but here he's saying it literal. As opposed to, I don't know how familiar you are, we mentioned in the past with the pugnacious quality. Sometimes you see in the Z Alpha, like a Donald Trump, where he's like, bah, bah, bah. And they make this little, it's very localized, it looks kind of like a bulldog. Whereas the Fez hunters, the Nye Z and Bi Z, they kind of do the same thing, but it looks more like a hound. More, it's bigger. It's a bigger, longer U, because their Jai range is longer in their face.
Uh-huh.
Interesting.
You want to watch a little more and look out for those things. The hands, listen to the gravel, and the Jai is more than a Z Alpha would have.
That's funny.
Also, I think it's like this.
What's that?
You can go.
I was just gonna say, like the hound dog, they kind of have, I don't know, like a longer snout. That kind of seems to me like more Nye, like that's like Nye or Bi over the Zez or the Zez channel. And then the pug is sort of like they have a shorter snout, so it's more like pressed up against the glass.
It's true.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say it was interesting. Like when I described like kind of grainy graveliness earlier on, I associate it like with Z in general, but I didn't catch on to like that it represented more like of a Bi kind of Z.
Well, particularly here is the drone. It's the drone gravel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is, I mean, you could kind of associate with other, with syncopated Z as well, but.
Oh yes, no, yes, that's what I'm saying. I was going along with your saying, Ben, is that the gravel often is more of like the Z, and when Z and Jai kind of go together. In this case, it was specified as droney gravel, and it's the drone part is associated with Bi. So yeah, you are right. The Z kind of goes with the gravel, and the drone with the Bi. But you know what, Closet? I give him his credit. Something he does. Something that helps with sport casting. Besides actually having strong Z and knee for being out a lot, active, staying up, forceful, is right there. Even there, he does a lot of Jai. I think to kind of be like to make it. This is an important event. C.F. Bayless does a lot where he's talking about sports event.
Yeah, he does.
And it makes it like this is a big deal, people. I'm telling you about one of the best of all time. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay.
And you compare that to Stephen A. Smith, who's a little bit more, he's using G. And
right. He does it also well, but he's more like a Southern Baptist minister.
That's true.
He kind of preaches the sport. It's a different way of doing it does. But
very true.
We're talking about drone gravel. I'd actually say it's a bit droney, mournful gravel. I do hear a substantial amount of Jai in his work, and I'm sure it aids him in making the event seem much more important.
I totally noticed the Jai in what he's doing. I mean,
when does his eyebrow raises? That's sort of like the knee Jai also.
He said with the eyebrow raised, sort of knee Jai also.
Like this is an important point, and then he'll just kind of like do this kind of thing, I think.
It's true. And again, who does that is Tommy Franks, who will like give interviews or say things about from the news people. He'll kind of like say some like Bi Z stuff, and then he'll kind of like resonate. His eyes will get like big knee, like that's important. But he doesn't really say it interesting. He kind of resonates that part of the message.
Mm-hmm.
Although he does something Tommy Franks doesn't do as much, which is I hear his Jai in his voice as he's articulating.
Yeah.
But Tommy Franks easier. He talks, and then after he's done talking, he'll pause and kind of like give like a Jai, and he'll be like, "Right, Americans, you feel me, Americans?" But he's kind of Jai needs that.
I almost wish I could see a video of Tommy Franks because I don't remember him.
What's that?
I almost wish I could see a video of Tommy Franks because I don't remember him right off the bat.
I'm sure you can do that. We can do video because I think video doesn't show up. Oh, it's time to go? Yeah. It's time to go.
No problem.
But yes, I see Tommy Franks and him back to back. I think you'll see some similarities. Although this guy here has more up energy in general than Tommy Franks does, and he uses the Jai not just on the pause beats, but he laces his Z articulation with it more. But with that said, they do actually have a rip that I kept feeling. Alrighty, we're about to go out into the field. Does anyone have any questions before we go? No, all set?
No, I'm good.
Cool. Then I'll be seeing several of you in meetings throughout the week. Okay.
Absolutely.
And look for new samples to come out on Monday.
Excellent.
Guys, good
Good night, guys.
Have a great night.
Yeah.